the good, the bad, the odd. It's one hell of a podcast.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Odd. We're your host, Michael and Sam. Today we're doing a TV special. We're doing our second episode on Kolchak the Night Stalker. Hi, Sam.
Hey.
Right, so if you want to contact us, www.thegoodthebadandtheodd.com is the place to go look and see how to contact us or interact with us on Facebook. If you just try and join the group, our group, the Good, the Bad and the Odd, I'll accept you, and we'll see how you go. I am good, Mark. Sorry, I am not good. I am Mark, Good, Bad and Odd on that group. I've changed my avatar recently on it to the Emperor Ming. Thought I'd have a change from Michael Caine and a shotgun. I'm the Emperor Ming now. I'll be that for a year or two before I change again. It's just out of interest. Who'd win in a fight, the Emperor Ming or the Emperor in Star Wars?
Ming.
I agree. I think Ming.
Yeah.
Ming's got way too many things up his sleeve to
he can will planets to death.
Yeah. He don't mess about either. He doesn't need no wussy old Death Star to do that. Okay, all right. Let's play a trailer for another podcast and then get... we're not doing a comfy chair this week. We'll do it next week. But these TV ones, we're just going to get on with it.
The United Nations of Horror.
Welcome back to the United Nations of Horror,
An international podcast about all things horror.
He emptied pubs when the show was broadcast on a Saturday night. It was literally that powerful. It was a sensation in the press. There were even questions in Parliament. And the more intelligent runners of pubs actually had to wheel in a TV to keep the regulars in there on a Saturday night rather than go home.
A podcast featuring a group of hardcore horror fans from all over the globe.
And so to watch that and just see how influential it was, this little-known film that I knew nothing about, I thought it was really cool, and it still holds up.
Each episode features a main topic.
And our main subject today is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Today we're tackling early German horror, looking at the Golem, how he came into the world.
Der Golem und wie in die Welt kam.
A horror podcast with a community focus.
Well, hey folks, this is Anthony back with another TV terror entry. This week we're talking Halloween.
Salutations, fellow horror fans. This is Talisha Tarver, your horror librarian, here to discuss this week's book tie-in for The Entity.
The United Nations of Horror. Visit us online at www.unitednationsofhorror.com.
So much ghost rape in this episode.
We're kind of rapey, you know?
Please keep that quote in.
Yes.
United Nations of Horror. We're kind of rapey.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
Get on with it!
Okay, so in our first show about Kolchak, we did the first two telefilms, The Night Stalker and The Night Strangler, and then I think we did the first 8 episodes of the TV series.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so we went through 8. They were kind of fun, and this is 6 more. We've decided to do 6 more, which leaves 6 more again to do at some point in the future, and possibly even the new up-to-date Kolchak show too. We'll see how it goes. So this one, we start with episode 9 of the series, and that is the Spanish Moss Murders. Right, what do you think of this one?
This was kind of stupid.
Yeah, it was. I kind of liked elements of it. One of the things I liked in it was, every week, Kolchak annoys an authority figure. He always annoys Vincenzo, his editor, constantly. But there's always a new cop or someone in the authority that he ends up annoying. But this one had a bit of a change in that the cop involved was kind of tried to be nice and placid and stuff. And Kolchak even makes fun of him at one point and says, "But you're mad dog, why are you talking like this?" He says, "I've been in therapy, I'm okay, you're okay."
I like it when he snaps at him. Kolchak undoes, I think he says 2.5 years of therapy or something
Kolchak,
like that.
After a couple of sessions in Kolchak, he kind of... And Kolchak actually says, "So what happened to I'm okay, you're okay?" And I think he says back, "To tell the truth, you're not okay," he says to Kolchak. Yeah, and I think he said something like, "They never told me that I'd meet anyone like you."
Yeah.
So, but essentially, there's this weird sort of moss running around. I'm trying to remember. Is it voodoo? I can't remember what brought about.
Kind of. It's this weird
Cajun
spirit thing that like feeds off of unconscious people.
Yes, and it kind of it's a big plant. It's a bit swamp thingy, isn't it? Kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it leaves a bit of
it's Swamp Thing basically.
Yeah, it kind of is, and it leaves bits of Spanish moss wherever it goes. And at one point, Kolchak says, "What a dead murder scene!" I mean, Kolchak just wanders onto murder scenes, doesn't he? And starts taking pictures. At one point, he says, "What's all this stuff lying around?" And one of the guys in charge says, "It's salad." He said, "Hell of a salad," it's kind of stuff like that. Anyway, he digs into it and finds out it's this specific kind of, I can't remember what it was, but it had a certain name, and you had to kill it with like a stick made from a gum tree or something like that, from the bayou.
Yeah.
And there's all this kind of nonsense.
You basically have to stake it.
Yeah, I mean, we're settling into quite a specific vibe with Kolchak. I was talking to you about it when we were watching it. It kind of reminds me of Columbo. In Columbo, it's most of the episodes him harassing or trolling his main suspect to make a mistake, to force a confession. Whereas Kolchak's he's going around trolling people, just being generally annoying.
Yeah, until they slip up.
Or he finds out something. It's usually not slip up. It's usually they just say something that helps him figure out something that's going on. It's not like they're hiding stuff. They're just annoyed with him and sort of snap at him, and they say something that triggers something in his mind. Most of Kolchak's stuff is coincidence. I mean, the fact is that week in, week out, he meets supernatural stuff just by chance. Yeah. Which is kind of hard to sustain in the series. I think when the X-Files first came about, one of the motivations behind it is they had to have a structure where they would encounter odd things, and it was their specific job to go and investigate odd occurrences. Yeah. So that made more sense. But his Kolchak just stumbles over stuff every week. I kind of like, this was a fun one. It was fun enough. I'm trying to find some of the other dialogue.
The best bits were Kolchak annoying this police officer.
Yeah, Mad Dog. And there's so many. I mean, it's pretty much always in Chicago. There must be a lot of cops there that, that he essentially annoys.
Yeah.
There's also this kind of. I just remember this was about a guy who was involved in a sleep study. And is it the sleeping guy, the guy that's making the...
Yeah, unintentionally.
Monster? Yeah, I mean, not intentionally. He's subconscious. He's in like a coma. In fact, at one point he dies, but the monster still goes on, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Which is a bit odd. There's always a woman dying in this, slightly off camera, isn't there? It's it's an odd one. It does. I mean, Richard Kill's in it again. He was the 7-foot Indian, Native American in
the Diabolero.
In the one just before this, Bad Medicine. In this case, you don't really see what he is. He's just a big swamp thing, kind of thing. I kind of like this one. It was okay. It wasn't like an outstanding one or anything. I think there are better ones, but I kind of liked it. It kind of wandered around all over the place, didn't it? But it was all the stuff with Mad Dog that was kind of fun. And there was also, wasn't there also like a guy pretending to be a Cajun, and he turns out to be a Jewish guy from Queens.
Yeah.
At one point, it's just an act for the tourists. There's a bit of all that.
This is it was an okay episode. It's not. It won't be near the top best episodes in this, but.
Yeah, there was one line that did make me laugh. Was Vincenzo? Basically, Kolchak shows Vincenzo a picture of this swamp thing, and he says, "What's this? Salvador Dali's bar mitzvah?" It just doesn't mean anything, really. It's just, it's like a weird picture, basically.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh. Yeah, so not a bad one. I can't remember. Do we rate these? I can't really remember.
Nah.
We don't.
I think we just talk about them.
Okay. Well, the next one was the Energy Eater. Now, this is about like a building, a hospital that's been newly built. Obviously, there are developers in there, and they're doing their thing, and It's all fine, but weird stuff starts happening. There's overheating going on in the building, and cracks appearing in towards the bottom. And it turns out, essentially, they kind of have reawakened a Native American monster. I do like in this series how they get monsters from all over the place.
Yeah, they've got their in later episodes Rakshasas from Hindu mythology. You got your Diableros, you got doppelgangers and vampires.
In fact, the doppelganger one is a kind of a made up. I mean, I know there are doppelgangers, but its particular MO was kind of they just made it up for the episode. But it was kind of cool. This one is called in this episode is a Machimanado. Machimanado, odd word. It's basically a bear spirit, I believe.
Yeah, they do like it's got like a bear totem or something that they use to symbolize it.
Yeah,
but we only ever see it as like an earthquake or an eye.
Yeah, we see it. There's a really cool thing where Kolchak takes all these X-rays that somehow got exposed and pastes them together into like a collage on the floor, and you see kind of an eye, but it's part of a bigger face. But it's kind of quite startling. That was kind of a nice touch, wasn't it? One other thing I like about this is it's got Will Smith, who's not, Fresh Prince. It's the guy from he's Conan's dad in the Conan the Barbarian film. He's like a tough man actor. He plays like the head of this company, construction worker company, Native American. He's meant to be Native American. He's got slightly brown makeup to make it look like American. And he's also happens to be the shaman of the tribe, but he's kind of dismissive of it. He's more sort of more worldly.
He's almost like I was going to say sort of agnostic-ish.
Yeah, even though he's happy to do the ceremonies when he thinks they might be useful. He also seems a bit of a ladies' man. He's constantly talking to ladies on the phone who's got women in his apartment. And Kolchak
starts, he meets up with this nurse, I think, at the hospital, and he ends up bringing her around so she can convince him to take part in this.
And he's already got a woman there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And Kolchak just died. He don't care, does he? If he's got a woman there, he just butts in and starts talking about him. And there's a good line in this which is really not much to do with the story. It's just a good line. Kolchak says at one point, he says, as the great Louis Pasteur once said, any schmo can invent a rabies vaccine, but when will we find a cure for stupidity? When he's talking about like the business people that are refusing to close down the hospital.
Yeah.
And there's some cool effects. I mean, we have like this basement where they keep going down, but the lights
they keep going there and everything just blows up whenever they go there.
Yeah, basically the heat has woken this thing up. And he tells these business people this, and they act like they don't believe him. But then they start pumping like freezer gas into the basement to try and calm it down.
Yeah.
So
there's a pretty funny bit where the ground is cracking and Kolchak's like chasing the spirit along with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, like a fire extinguisher is a freezing item. Yeah. Just because it's got white gas coming, smoke coming out of it, it's supposed to be a freezing. That's funny. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen a fire extinguisher treated as a fast freeze device. It's kind of fun.
Well, they do it in Tremors too.
Oh, okay, do they? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was fun. Will Smith was quite kind of fun in it. He delivered. They do cast quite well in these series. I don't find any of the actors really are wanting. The main cast is solid. There was that woman at the beginning, Janice, was it, or something? I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I think
she wasn't a great actress, but they've replaced her with Miss Emily, who's much better. Works much better. And of course, Updike's still around, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah,
and I do like how Updike always gets happy whenever Kolchak's in trouble. That's kind of
and you've got Miss Emily. Who hangs her out every so often. She's not as frequently in it as Vincenzo or Updike, but she's there.
Yeah. It wasn't a great episode, but it's nowhere near as bad as the worst one we've seen, which is that one.
I quite liked it because it was more action packed than the usual Kolchak episode.
Yeah, it cracked along at a fair pace, didn't it? And like I say, I think the real best bit in terms of horror, I mean, it wasn't particularly horrific, but the best bit was the when they put the composite X-rays together and you saw the big eye. That was really something.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. That close up of the eye kind of reminded me of the sort of images you see in the Night Gallery series now and again.
Yeah.
It was kind of had that feel, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was kind of different from some of the other stories. In some ways, it kind of almost felt like a rerun of the Alien one with the energy, but a way better version of it. Much better, much more interesting episode than that. So we enjoyed that one. Let's move on to episode. So that's 9 and 10. Episode 11, Horror in the Heights, starring the great and legendary Phil Silvers. Now, it's interesting, this episode, written by Jimmy Sangster. I don't know if the name means anything to you, but he's associated with Hammer. He wrote a lot of. He wrote the first Dracula Hammer film, for example, and several other Hammer films. He directed a few Hammer films, and he wrote this story. And it is kind of an interesting story. It's kind of a bit different. I felt kind of a bit odd at all the swastikas in it.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because they were in a Jewish neighbourhood. I mean, Phil Silvers, they were in a Jewish neighbourhood. Phil Silvers was playing a distinctly Jewish character in this. He was going on about going to temple. You know, the reason he didn't go to temple. He told his wife he was going to. I mean, the Kolchak talkover was saying he told his wife he was going to temple, but really he was just playing cards. And they were saying like they played cards every week, but they played with one guy who was. They didn't really like him, but he provided the premises because he was the security man, and he lost money to him. The week before, he'd lost a massive 75 cents. And that was kind of a joke. But it's in this Jewish place, and there's some horrible close-ups here of things like rats chewing on raw meat and stuff like that. It's kind of a bit gross. But also you start to notice they're in one of the jokes is there's this Indian restaurant that's opened in a Jewish neighbourhood. Like, what sort of business is that? I mean, this was a bit less we're much more used to more cosmopolitan sort of eating habits now, aren't we? So we're used to like a Chinese and an Indian and this, that and the other. But this one was playing on the fact that someone's opened an Indian restaurant in the middle of like the Jewish quarter. So what sort of business are going to get? No one ever turns up there. But then we also see swastikas. Yeah, and they're painted up in both directions. You know, the Nazi way and is it Hindu? Hindu way. So it's a bit odd. So that's weird. And it turns out it's this particular monster called a Sanshaka, I think. Sanshaka?
A Rakshasa.
Rakshasa. I've got that completely wrong. And it turns out this is a shape-shifting thing, isn't it? So it can look like
turns into people that they'd be familiar with, and then like lures them in, and then they get attacked by rats.
Yeah, the rats are gross. In this,
yeah.
So this evil spirit thing, it's kind of, when you see it for real, it looks like a Star Trek alien. It's got that look, it's like a big shaggy thing with pointy teeth. I did look at this particular thing on the internet because I wasn't sure if it was made up or real, and this thing is a real thing in mythology.
It's a real thing.
A shape-shifting demon that could steal people, eats flesh and stuff like this. So it didn't look much like the pictures I saw, but it didn't look that dissimilar. They looked somewhat similar. And the Rakshasa, by sort of luring, it transformed into people and like gestured, "Come towards me," didn't it? That's what it was. Did it ever? It talked once. Thing, didn't it? It could talk as well.
Yeah, it talked as Kolchak to someone, and it talked as Miss Emily to Kolchak.
Yeah, that's right. Because I mean, it has this goofy premise that like, it's going to try and fool me. I've got to watch out and be on my guard. And like, Miss Emily turns up and said, "Miss Emily, what are you doing here?" It's like, "Kolchak, you know what it is. What are you playing at?" And he was like acting like it really was. I mean, he thought it was Miss Emily, didn't he? But the viewer knew. Oh, for goodness sake, So there was all this. Phil Silvers disappeared about halfway through, got killed by the thing, which was a bit of a surprise. I thought they used him all the way through, actually. But
honestly, I didn't even recognise that it was Phil Silvers.
Not even
until
from the voice?
No.
Wow.
It just didn't click in my head.
Okay. It's just you're used to seeing him as Bilko, I guess.
Yeah.
He was good in this. I mean, good turn. And even the bit players were pretty good. There was a guy working in an Indian restaurant, and he was pretty good. I can't remember the comedy. There was definitely some comedy stuff with Vincenzo, but I can't remember what it was.
I think it was mainly just poking fun at sort of Jewish stereotypes, sort of thing.
Okay. I'm trying to find a bit of dialogue, but never mind.
Yeah.
It was a pretty decent episode. I don't know, it long. It was quite different. It didn't feel like some of the other episodes. I think it's probably because Jimmy Sangster wrote it, and it was this weird thing with swastika. It just felt a little uncomfortable watching all the swastikas.
There was like bits where he's walking down an alleyway, and there's like 5 swastikas just sprayed on the wall.
Yeah,
it's like what?
I was watching this at the gym. I was on the treadmill in the gym watching this, and I had to stop it because I can't watch all this stuff with swastikas. And I felt a little uncomfortable if anyone saw the screen of watching something with loads of swastikas. Even, it's Kolchak and it's from the 70s.
Yeah.
It felt a little uncomfortable, so I actually shut it off because of the swastikas. But, I mean, it's not inoffensive otherwise, isn't it? It's just the presence of the swastikas that feel a bit odd. In a TV
and they don't
show.
even like bring attention to it. He's just like walks past them.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if that was done now, they'd be talking about, it might be hate crimes and stuff like that. But not even a mention of it, of those. But like I say, Sangster was kind of, I wonder if he wrote this story originally for something else, like a Hammer thriller, and it just got translated into a Kolchak. I can't really tell. It felt very Kolchak-y, though.
Yeah.
Didn't it? It's weird. There's also the old Indian fella, and he shoots at Kolchak at one point, doesn't he? Thinking he's the Rakshasa.
The Rakshasa.
So it's kind of cool. I like the premise, and the fact that he could have got done in by Miss Emily was kind of fun too.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool, and I like the cross cutting so that you saw from one point of view that it was a rabbi or a friend, and then when it cut back, you saw behind the monster, it was the monster approaching that person, but that person had the expression like they were greeting a friend, didn't they? That was kind of cool too. So a pretty decent episode actually.
Yeah,
rather enjoyed it. Right, that brings us to number 12, Mr. Ring. So this is the first time we're encountering computers and stuff.
Yeah,
Kolchak,
so far.
Right, this involves... Now, we both got some weird old vibes from this one, didn't we? Essentially, a guy's got like this... I guess it's a robot, but it's a man in a velour suit with a weird terminal on his face, essentially, lying on a table. And there's a bloke in a white coat working around him. And we found out later on that he's supposed to be decommissioning this robot thing called Mr. Ring. But it attacks him.
No, it's just called Ring.
Ring, that's it. I wonder why they called it Mr. Ring. Is that Mr. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway, it's called Ring.
The episode is called Mr. Ring, but the monster itself is just called Ring.
And it grabs his neck and squeezes it. Basically kills him and then escapes.
Yeah.
And it's got a weird terminal face. And one of the first things it does is find this weird mask and put it on his face. Now, there was a couple of things that made us look at each other while watching this. The first is the company developing this automaton that looks human is called the Tyrell Corporation. Sorry, I laughed really loud then. I'm right into the mic. Well, we both looked at each other and thought of Blade Runner, didn't we? Really?
Yeah.
And I wondered if Ridley Scott saw this episode and there was it was an in-joke that no one else is privy to, or if it's just a bizarro coincidence. Probably a coincidence, but it just seemed really odd that this was the Tyrell Corporation.
Is it in Android's Dream of Electric Sheep? Or?
I don't know. It's certainly in Blade Runner, the Tyrell Corporation, but I don't know if it's the individual book. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we're laughing about this. It may well be.
I'll tell you what, I'll Google it while we're talking and find out.
It's not.
Ah, right. So it was in
It's called the Rosen Association in the book.
Wow, how about that? Another thing you picked up on specifically, is when it found a weird mask to put over its weird long face. What did you think it looked like?
Well, it wasn't like a mask at first. He put on a weird porcelain mask.
Yeah, like a big doll's mask. I think it was a lamp. He took it off a lamp or something. It was bizarre anyway. It was a weird
it was a weird thing. But then he started putting prosthetic.
Well, what he did is he broke into a mortuary and stole all their makeup. They don't call it makeup, but stuff that they use to make corpses look more lifelike.
Yeah.
It had like something putty, like a human skin putty, didn't it, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it started putting this on the mask. Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, he's like sort of wiping it on the mask, and then you see like a full-on shot of it, and it's just Michael Myers because he's wearing a blue like boiler suit as well.
Yeah, it did look like Mike Myers. Again, this was made 4 or 5 years before Halloween came out, and it was moving in a sort of I don't want to say monstrous, but in a shape. He was the shape. You know, Mike Myers is called the shape, isn't it? It was kind of doing that. And he was also super strong and kind of resilient to bullets.
Yeah.
So
he kept picking people up and throwing them.
Yeah, and he actually went for a wall at one point. Didn't use the door, just went for a wall.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it was this robot running around. I can't remember what ring stood for, but it was kind of really goofy. Something about neural ganglia.
Yeah, something like that.
But it wasn't robotic. It was something else. I was trying to guess before they told us, but I was completely off on what the answer was. Essentially, this robot had been created, but the military wanted to use it, and this woman who had programmed it didn't want aggression put in it. So basically, as soon as she posited it, they shouldn't put aggression in it. They canned her, didn't they? She got sacked. Now, at one point, do we think she's been murdered? But it turns out the machine has kidnapped her.
Yeah, she's just been kidnapped.
Yeah, so which was odd. And it basically is a rampaging robot. It was kind of fun. It wasn't quite as fun as some of the others.
Yeah.
Basically, the fun stuff.
Pretty goofy because it was all just Kolchak messing with people.
Yeah, that was the fun bit of it.
Yeah.
But that even that gets... sorry, I'm starting to talk about the next one. I'll wait till the next one. But there's some good fun to be had by watching Kolchak messing with people. And sort of pulling them up and fooling them, lying to them to get into places and all this, that and the other. But basically, these robots on the rampage, the military know it. They're trying to sort of catch it and stuff. And we are... All right, okay. I mean, that was a pretty decent one, wasn't it? Not a great one, but okay.
Nah.
Entertaining enough.
Yeah.
Now, that brings me to Primal Scream. Now, this one involves an 8-man thing, or a couple of 8 men. It's a bit unclear, because there might be a couple around. It's not very clear. It starts with this premise of, like, these core samples of... no, it doesn't start with that. We find out that these samples have been taken out of the Earth, possibly millions of years old, single-celled organisms.
Frozen in the Arctic. Frozen, yeah.
And they've kind of been unthawed by mistake, which is a bit like The Thing, isn't it, if you think about it? But it turns out that they somehow... evolved into these ape creatures, or missing links, or this, that, and the other. And this, if you want to see Kolchak trolling everyone in sight over and over again, this is the episode for you, because we were laughing our heads off in this. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's so many good bits. Like, he gets told off by this doctor who's like trying to get into a patient's room, and doctor tells him to sod off, basically.
Yeah, and
he like takes 2 steps back out the door and immediately walks back in holding this like bunch of flowers for this lady. And like helps her into a room and immediately dives across the corridor to get into this woman's room that he needs to talk to.
Yeah, and when he talks to her, you get a big toe in extreme close-up right in front of
there was some Quentin Tarantino sort of stuff there.
There was definitely something going on with that director. It's like, why has he got a big toe on the front of the screen? And they're sort of talking around it. They're like in the background, and there's this toe in the extreme foreground. It's really weird. And then the doctor finds him and gets in 2 massive porters or orderlies to sort of chuck him out. And Kolchak's all, hi fellas. And then later on, we see Kolchak in the same hospital in a patient's gown in a wheelchair, just wheeling along just so he can listen at this door. And then the doctor sees him again from behind and says, "Mr. So-and-so, are you okay?" And Kolchak hears him, looks around and just gets up and runs, leaves the wheelchair there. There's all this fun stuff. It's basically a pretty goofy story. They're basically saying, from these single-celled organisms, an ape has evolved, in a couple of weeks. It's kind of goofy, but it's fun.
And then Kolchak goes
really
and fights it in some underground tunnels.
Yeah, Kolchak actually just goes
flares.
Just no gun, nothing. Just goes. Oh, and they're trying to kill this beast. And also, it's meat eating. And one of the things is, well, apes aren't meat eaters, so what is it? And he actually goes and sees a bloke in a school who explains to him that, we're not descending from apes, we're descending from a common ancestor, and this, that, and the other. And he shows him a chart of, Homo erectus and all this. Sorry, Homo erectus and all this. And at one point, Kolchak says, I work for him to one of the ape men.
He points to some ape, really early, Gigantopithecus or something. Yeah. He's like, I work for this guy.
That's kind of fun. And there's all sorts of other ones. There's this stroppy secretary at one point. Who's,
I remember this.
And Kolchak he's being a bit of a lech at one point. Yeah,
he's leaning over her shoulder trying... It looks kind of like he's trying to look down her top, but he's listening in into this conversation she's having.
And is looking at what she's writing. And then at one point, she actually stands up.
She stands up and crosses her arms under her breasts, and he immediately goes, whoa! And starts,
and she's taller than him, isn't she, as well? So her breasts are kind of on his eye line, so he actually holds his hat up. Because he's a bit embarrassed. He holds his hat up right in front of her cleavage while he's talking to her. It's kind of funny. There's some fun stuff in it. I'm trying to think. There was lots. There was one bit. This butcher was taking meat into a van, and the ape run. You see the ape climb into the van after him, and then you see the guy fly out.
Like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Just goes out the van and through a window completely.
And what made it even worse is some bloke comes out behind him, looks at where the bloke's been thrown, and gestures okay. Not like, what the hell's going on? But, okay. And then he looks in the van. It's like, wow, that guy was really badly directed. He obviously didn't know what he was supposed to be looking at. And the director just said, look like you're a bit surprised, instead of a bloke's just been thrown through a window here or something. I don't know what it was, but his reaction was all over the place. Good acting, though. Good acting throughout. Again, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
He met he met one of the coppers that I reckon was in the Night Stalker, but he kind of looked familiar. And he basically, at one point, the bloke steps on his camera, just stamps on it. And says, it was an accident, I'll pay you for it. And when there's a completely pointless scene where Kolchak leaves, it's kind of semi-pointless. At one point, Kolchak robs his office, I think, but for pictures. But Kolchak goes in to give him a chitty for his camera, to get the money paid back, and he goes, okay, I'll deal with it. Kolchak leaves and he looks at it and just throws it in the bin. It's it doesn't serve anything about the story other than showing he has complete contempt for Kolchak.
Wasn't that the Mad Dog?
No, it's a different bloke. It's a different fella.
It looked like
Mad Dog does come back in it, I think, but it wasn't in this one. This one was on a slightly older guy with pointy up hair, grey hair. But great, I really enjoyed this episode. This is one of the better ones, actually. It's just not because of the story or anything, that was stupid, but the whole culture. This was the peak of Kolchakness, this episode, so it's a definite recommend for me if you want to see what Kolchak's all about. I really, really enjoyed it. It was solid.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's we got one more left. The last one was the Trevi collection. So this is episode 14. Now this involves high fashion and witchcraft. So high fashion. Can you imagine Kolchak in high fashion? Right. Wow. It's completely off his. He's completely out of his league, but he does not care. He's just he's not bothered about it, other than trying to get people out. He's fairly sociable, this guy, and he's just annoying people left, right, and centre. One point, a model says, look, I'd like some publicity about this, let's do it. It does start with a really weird scene where there's in a fashion house, and this guy's obviously spying, he's taking pictures of their latest designs and the dresses, but then the mannequins kind of start moving around him, and he kind of knows something's up, but he can't he hasn't seen them actually move, so he's not entirely sure. But then they attack. We see him thrown through out of a window as Kolchak's leaving the building. He's been assigned this fashion stuff, hasn't he? And he's kind of bored about it. And this bloke gets thrown out of a window, and he starts investigating the bloke, and this model sidelines him and says, "Well, I can't." One of the girls was going out of him. Some of the girls like a bit of rough. Was kind of what she said. It's in tune. Yeah. It's like, wow. And we also get the this 70s fashion stuff, don't we? Like what's in fact like feathers, and brown is the in colour. How great brown is. It's like, oh my god. And it turns out that she's at one point she's supposed to be on a shoot, but there's this posh French model there that doesn't like her, so she doesn't get the job. Then a cat attacks her and
immediately jumps and savages this woman
on the face. So and then it turns out she tells Kolchak that the head of the Trevi house is a witch. And then he starts looking into witchcraft. But it turns out, I mean, we kind of spoiled in it, but we've kind of done it. It turns out the model is actually the witch. In fact, we see this whole coven shot, don't we? It's kind of bizarre.
That bit was so weird because
Kolchak just walks in, doesn't he? He just walks in.
Yeah, he walks in, they sort him out and send him off, and then they all start laughing because they pull one over Kolchak, and one of them throws their hood back, and it's the model. And they hold for a good 2 minutes of her completely hamming it up.
Really cackling.
Yeah.
Properly, ha, 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 all this.
Yeah.
But it did make me laugh the fact he went in. All right, there was a hooded person letting in, but it looked like a normal house. And then the kind of wall comes back, and there's a coven and a black mass or something going on. They've got a goat and everything.
Whip out a goat to sacrifice.
And he's like, whoa. And he's got a book about witchcraft. And there was also a talk by a bloke about witchcraft that we thought, that looks like Vincenzo, didn't we? We both thought that. You thought at one point, it was Vincenzo dressed up, didn't you?
Yeah. I thought it was is he in deep cover or something?
Yeah, because
trying to get...
It looked and sounded like him, didn't it?
Yeah.
But when we looked into it, the actor was completely different. We were wrong about that. But this had a lot of Kolchak making a lot of jokes about witches. Witchy kind of jokes, broomsticks, and the ones on a broomstick. He'd go and things like that. And he eventually as he always does. He knows nothing about this. He doesn't go read books about. Actually, I'll tell a lie. He does get a book about it in this one, but usually he gets his info from people on the street. Say, "How'd you kill this? Oh, you do this. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that." Then he don't go and double check. He just go. He just goes with whatever he's told. And this one was it like a bag of marbles or trinkets or bells? A witch doesn't like the sound of it, no, it's like a voodoo charm.
Doesn't like smashing glass,
and they don't like the sound of smashing glass. And there's also a bit where he's talking to a bloke quite rationally, and he said, the bloke says, "What you mean, like voodoo?" And he goes, "No, witchcraft," and they just carry on their conversation like it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And there's a kind of. I think this could have done with a bit more dummy attacks. The dummy attacks were kind of cool. I mean, they weren't great, but they were kind of cool. And at one point, they all attack Kolchak, and it looks like he's going to get killed or something, but he gets his juju bag, of magic that makes them all turn back into dummies again. But the witch gets away, and she's kind of cackling. And there's also this subplot of the woman who Kolchak thinks is the main witch behind all at first. She starts choking when she's talking to Kolchak, and it turns out the other witch has made her like a fetish doll of with a string around its neck, which is choking the other woman. But Kolchak cuts it, and then she can start breathing. There's all this, that, and that. It's kind of a cool episode, and the woman playing the evil witch is kind of cool, but really hams it up whenever she's laughing.
Yeah.
But at one point, Kolchak sticks her head in a vat of blue dye for some reason, and says,
and then he just legs it out in the street. So he's being chased by this model.
Yeah, but he also says, "Drown, witch, drown." It's kind of not very Kolchak, is it? It's kind of, whoa, what's going on here? And then they legs it. So one of the ways to to kill a witch or confront a witch is accuse her in public. And at one point she says, "You accuse me all you want. There's no one around. It won't work." But then he runs out into the street and there's people walking around, and she's covered in blue dye. Her hair's gone bright blue.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird but funny. It's kind of because it's so goofy. And it's going, "I accuse you of being a witch," and that sends her mad. Literally sends her mad. Because it ends up with her being dragged off to the sanitarium, doesn't it? She's gone completely insane. Kolchak's like, kind of, like all of this. He's never that phased by whatever he meets, is he? He never takes weapons, ever.
No.
He just turns up, rocks up with his camera, and does his best. So I think there were some good ones there. I think the weakest one maybe Spanish Moss.
Yeah, Spanish Moss was definitely the weakest.
But they're all, even that was pretty good. I kind of enjoyed this quite a lot. These 6 were pretty solid set. So just more recommends from us when it comes to Kolchak, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know when we'll probably be getting back to this again in a couple of months. We'll probably have a break and do something else for the TV. We're not quite sure what yet, but we'll decide. But we'll be back to something more regular next week, and we'll be doing a What We Watch next week. Any final thoughts on Kolchak?
Yeah, still very good, still very enjoyable.
Yeah, Garrett McGavin really. I mean, if they were to remake, I know they remade this in the early sort of 2000 or mid 2000s. If they were remaking it now, would you see as being a good Kolchak?
Ooh.
All right, let's do it in 2 ways. If they remade Kolchak as a TV series, who'd you see as Kolchak? Any ideas? Because I haven't thought this out, actually. I'm not quite sure.
I don't know, actually.
What about
I'd say
Nathan Fillion?
Yeah, maybe, actually. He's got the right sort of grizzled... He can do grizzled.
I mean, you could have a real old guy doing this, and it'd still work. A young guy...
Capaldi might actually do quite good at it.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, or actually, David Tennant. David Tennant would be quite a good Kolchak. That'd work, wouldn't it? Because he could do that annoying people stuff quite well. Actually, you know what? A lot of the Doctor Who's could do this. I mean, even Eccleston could do this. I don't think it'd be quite as... Because you've got to have someone who's charming, haven't you? Who's likeable, but capable of really annoying people. And there's a lot of British actors could do this. I mean, I could see like McKellen. Ian McKellen. Sorry, that's more cinema. I was going to say, who would be a good cinema Kolchak? And I would say Robert Downey Jr., definitely. That'd work quite well. Any thoughts on a cinema one?
Oh. McKellen is really the only one I could think of for
He'd
that
be quite good. Patrick Stewart would be a bit too serious, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Patrick Stewart can do goofy, but it doesn't really... McKellen does it better.
Yes, he does. Yeah, I think I agree with you. Okay, we'll leave it there. It's been a fun show. Watching these is real fun, so it's been very enjoyable. Definitely recommend. Apparently, very soon. Apparently, the DVD box set's out of print. I've got it. I bought it when it came out, so I've had it for 10 odd years. So I didn't know this, but apparently it's out of print at the minute. But they're bringing out a new. I don't know if it's restored or anything, but they're certainly bringing it back as a box set soon. I might be only in America, not sure, but they are bringing it out again soon. So if you can get Kolchak, get it. I don't think it's on any streaming services, but I might be wrong there. But it's well worth watching. If you get to it. I bet it's on YouTube anyway, or some of it. All right then.
Yeah, all of the episodes are on YouTube.
Oh, there you go. You've been watching them on YouTube, haven't you? Mostly.
Yeah, a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some we've watched on my DVDs.
When we were doing the first batch, I put
just want to also mention, which something I've mentioned before, is Kolchak is a really big influence on the X-Files. It can't be understated. And in fact, I meant to mention that on Primal Scream, where they're defrosting ice cores and finding weird organisms, that was kind of story was covered in an episode in the first season called Ice, where they uncovered these weird worm things. And Ice was an episode that was kind of riffing quite a bit on The Thing, the original story of The Thing, certainly the Carpenter version of The Thing, and so it made me wonder whether this Primal Scream actually influenced that episode into being. It's possible, I don't know. So cool. All right then, so bye from me.
Bye.